for the Phil Hendrie Show, but it's going to be at 7:06 Pacific and 10:06 East. Ow. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Well, I just wanted to...
Get out of here. Anyway, that's going to be 7:06 Pacific and 10:06 Eastern Time. Excuse me. This is a premier radio network that we're on. Hello, stations. Also, you better know that a show airs live on Satcom C5, Transponder 23, CDAT 14 and 15 in stereo. Then there's going to be a 35 hertz tone at the front of each network break and a 25 hertz tone at the front of each local break. So you better be ready. You better be ready because we don't want to have nobody, make it sound bad or nothing like that. A lot of times, if it's bad, Mr. Hendrie will be very angry. He'll call up program directors and also general managers, too, as well as the general managers. I wouldn't want to be you, that's for sure. Your ass is going to be the grass, and Mr. Hendrie's going to be the grass, the lawnmower. Good evening, stations. This is Bud Dickman, associate producer of the Phil Hendrie Show, letting you know that you better get ready because they're going to have the Phil Hendrie Show going to be coming down the line pretty soon. At 7:06 Pacific Time, 10:06 Eastern Time is when the show's going to start. So if you're like in Mountain Time, 8:06, and if you're in Central Time, going to be 9:06, and that's what it's going to be. Stand by for the Phil Hendrie Show, but it's going to be at 7:06 Pacific and 10:06 East. Ow. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Well, I just wanted to...
Get out of here. Anyway, that's going to be 7:06 Pacific and 10:06 Eastern Time. Excuse me. This is a premier radio network that we're on. Hello, stations. Also, you better know that a show airs live on Satcom C5, Transponder 23, CDAT 14 and 15 in stereo. Then there's going to be a 35 hertz tone at the front of each network break and a 25 hertz tone at the front of each local break. So you better be ready. You better be ready because we don't want to have nobody, make it sound bad or nothing like that. A lot of times, if it's bad, Mr. Hendrie will be very angry. He'll call up program directors and also general managers, too, as well as the general managers. I wouldn't want to be you, that's for sure. Your ass is going to be the grass, and Mr. Hendrie's going to be the grass, the lawnmower. Good evening, stations. This is Bud Dickman, associate producer of the Phil Hendrie Show, letting you know that you better get ready because they're going to have the Phil Hendrie Show going to be coming down the line pretty soon. At 7:06 Pacific Time, 10:06 Eastern Time is when the show's going to start. So if you're like in Mountain Time, 8:06, and if you're in Central Time, going to be 9:06, and that's what it's going to be. Stand by for the Phil Hendrie Show, but it's going to be at 7:06 Pacific and 10:06 East. Ow. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Well, I just wanted to...
Get out of here. Anyway, that's going to be 7:06 Pacific and 10:06 Eastern Time. Excuse me. This is a premier radio network that we're on. Hello, stations. Also, you better know that a show airs live on Satcom C5, Transponder 23, CDAT 14 and 15 in stereo. Then there's going to be a 35 hertz tone at the front of each network break and a 25 hertz tone at the front of each local break. So you better be ready. You better be ready because we don't want to have nobody, make it sound bad or nothing like that. A lot of times, if it's bad, Mr. Hendrie will be very angry. He'll call up program directors and also general managers.
The Phil Hendrie Show. 1-800-449-8686. And let me just test here. We've got some... What can I tell you, guys? It's 1 week in a new studio, so we're still testing out the equipment. There we go. Thanks a lot, Mike. Got that line on. We had music there from the Abyss, and we've had a plane go down off the coast of California here not too long ago. If I could get some information about the plane going down, what time, the plane flight, that would be a terrific thing. I will tell you that it is a large bit of news here in Los Angeles. This is an Alaska Airlines jet that crashed in the Pacific Ocean off of Point Mugu. 70 people on board, Flight 261, an MD-80, and it went down about 4:45 Pacific time. And this is consuming quite a bit of the news here in Southern California. Now, I live, and here's how I found out about it. I was in the studio here not too long ago. I mean, I've been here since got here about 4:45, as a matter of fact, because I was running a little late, had some things to do. And ordinarily I get here earlier. I don't want you to think I'm a complete bum. But anyway, I got here, and Schaefer walks in and says to me, "A plane crashed near your house." And I said, "What?" He said, "A plane crashed near your house." Turns out, it crashed near my house, Shafe, 40 miles near my house, okay? It's in the ocean, and I don't live on no ocean. But Point Mugu is like over the mountain from where I live. So anyway, it went in the water. They're out there right now. They're looking for survivors. Hope they find them. Don't know whether they will or not. It's always... Every time I hear about a plane going down in water, I'm always thinking, oh, gosh, that they're going to find somebody, that someone may have survived, given it a crash site where someone probably has a higher probability of surviving than were it to crash on land. But you forget the velocity that these planes are traveling at, and I remember when ValueJet went down in Miami, it was traveling at such a high rate of speed, it was near to impossible that they were going to find anybody, alive, and they did not. In fact, they barely found the plane. It had gone into the swamp out there, the Everglades, at such a high rate of speed. This might have been the same situation here with the Alaska Airlines jet. I don't know. But it happened this afternoon about 4:45, and so they have search and rescue out there in the Pacific Ocean. And Point Mugu is roughly, for those of you not familiar with the area, it's roughly about 30 miles up the coast from Los Angeles itself, from San Pedro. It's on the way to Santa Barbara. It's near Malibu. And again, over the mountains are cities like Thousand Oaks and Westlake Village, which is where I live. So, yeah, technically, Mike, the plane crashed near my house, okay? I'm thinking, well, did the plane crash on my... You didn't say... I remember thinking when you said that, oh, good, the plane didn't crash on my house. It crashed near it. So maybe there's survivors, meaning my family. I got to tell you something. I've had personal experience with Alaska. It's always been a great airline to fly. You ever flown in Alaska? Great airline. Nice people. Always on time. Comfortable as hell. They never really load the planes up for some reason. I mean, well, yeah, they sell them out, but it never feels like you're on a sold-out plane. It's a damn good little West Coast carrier. It's a regional carrier, and they fly between cities like Los Angeles, San Diego, and then the Pacific Northwest like Seattle and Portland. And, yes, they fly to Alaska, obviously. But it's a Western airline. It's a regional airline for the West Coast. The plane went down at 4:45. The search and rescue, Navy, all kinds of people are out there right now seeing if there are survivors. An MD-80. Have you ever flown it? I'll tell you, if you know you're on an MD-80, it's a McDonnell Douglas 80. As soon as it takes off, it goes straight up in the air like a rocket. They don't do a gradual incline. They go, and they're real quiet. They're great jets. But you take off in these things, and I mean, it's like you're on the Concorde or something. They go straight up, real quiet jet, and real state-of-the-art for, when it came out. And I guess now it's, it's an old jet. I guess maybe it's a 10, 15-year-old jet. So that's what we've been dealing with here on the Phil Hendrie Show. We are going to talk about some post-Super Bowl experiences. Bobby Dooley from the Western States Parent Teachers Organization and the Western States Homeowners Association is going to be on the line with us later on in the program. And I'd like to make a note that we have reached over $80,000 in the sales of the Phil Hendrie Best of the Phil Hendrie Show 1999 CD. Communism is Neat. Over $80,000 has been earned. And thanks to your largesse, it is all going to my friend's place, a resource center for homeless and runaway kids in Hollywood. We're planning on another radiothon somewhere down the road, and we will be doing that just as soon as we can organize that. But right now we're up to about $80,000 in a little over a month. In about 8 weeks, we've made $80,000, $10,000 a week, huh? Pretty good deal, and we appreciate everybody who got involved on that level. And then I'd like to also tell you that, of course, you can still order the CD online. We are continuing the sales of that online at philhendrieshow.com. So you can pick up the Best of the philhendrieshow.com CD, or Phil Hendrie Show CD at philhendrieshow.com, and that's $23.50, $3.50 shipping and handling, and $20 for the CD. And then 1 week from last night, this coming Sunday night on Fox, I'll be guest starring on King of the Hill. And that is with guest stars Reese Witherspoon and Kathleen Turner will also be appearing. Not that I worked with them, because I didn't. I went into a booth and I cut the tracks, and then they said, clear out, Miss Witherspoon will be here. Clear out, Hendrie, so we can get some Lysol in there. And then, and only then, does Miss Witherspoon step into the same parking lot. Where's Miss Turner? Miss Turner cut her stuff, and just don't worry about Miss Turner. Just do your stuff and get out. So I think Kathleen Turner actually cut her tracks in New York. So she was in New York. Reese Witherspoon, who was late to the studio that day, not because she's unprofessional. She's terribly professional, terrific woman. I never met her, but they tell me that she is. But she was on the phone taking a lot of congratulatory calls about her Golden Globe. But anyway, so she, well, that's what they told me. That was the joke. That's what Stephen Root said. I'm kidding. Anyway, 1 week from last night. So this coming Sunday night on Fox, I'll be guest starring on King of the Hill. And then we've got another one coming up sometime in the spring. So we'll keep you abreast of these. That's this coming Sunday night. It's on at 7:30 Pacific, right, Mike? Please, God, let me get that right. 7:30 Eastern and Pacific. So what does that mean? 6:30 Central? 8:30 Central? On Fox, King of the Hill. So that's going to be kind of a cool thing. And then we had the big chili cook-off yesterday that I was telling you guys about. Just so you know, as I told you, my wife makes that skin hanging from the roof of your mouth chili. We did take it into the to the big chili cook-off. There were a lot of people there with the back cut out of the suit, ready to head west. A lot of old folks. Yes, when I suggested that they try chili number 11, that was my wife's number in the competition. Yes, they all got the look on their face like, oh, God, not that kind of a bowel movement. No. Some old guy, I said, hey, man, you tried that number 11? Oh, Jesus. There's a look on his face like, yeah, sheesh. So she lost, but it's still good. Anybody want some? Mail it to you in a can. I'll bring some over in a plastic bag for you guys. It's Phil Hendrie Show here. Our number 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show at 1-800-449-8686. Go ahead, Vic. All right, hold on. Whoa. Hold on for a minute. What's the matter? What's that all about?
No, it's just the bumper music that's coming back.
Bumper music that's coming back.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, let me ask you a question. That's Buddy Holly. He died in a plane crash, okay? So is this what we're doing?
No, it's got nothing to do with it.
Bull crap.
It's got nothing to do with it, Phil. It's the music, the bumper music.
Where's Craig?
He's taking a dump.
Well, get him out of the bathroom and bring him back in here, okay? Look, I'm talking about Alaska Airlines. Buddy Holly, plane crash, makes too much sense. I don't want it.
I'm telling you, you're being paranoid. It's just the music that we're playing that's coming back.
And by the way, Vic,
Yeah.
get some speaking lessons or something. Coming by.
What's the matter? I thought, all I'm doing here is filling it out. The engineer. No problem with it?
No, there ain't no problem with it, man. Just, I don't need to be hearing. You know what I'm talking about, okay? Just as we're talking here tonight about the plane that went down off of the coast, I don't need your smart-ass commentary, any of this very predictable goofball crap I don't want. You understand? For once, I'd like to play it right. Get it out of there. All these guys that have been talking to me.
You sit and hold me.
Sorry.
Alaska Airlines Flight 261 crashed this evening at 4:45 into the Pacific Ocean. 70 people aboard. Apparently, Alaska... Turn it off. Turn it off.
What?
Stevie Ray Vaughan, that's what. Look, smartass. Excuse me, folks. Look, smartass.
Phil, I'm telling you, paranoid. All I'm trying to do is give you some background music that's going to fit out.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
What?
What?
It wasn't a plane crash.
Well, what was it?
A helicopter crash.
Well, it's the same thing, man. Just because he died in a helicopter crash, I don't want it. Anyway, Alaska Airlines Flight 261...
I don't take it all.
Sorry.
Alaska Airlines Flight 261, it's an MD-80. 70 people aboard.
He didn't die in a plane crash.
Just get it out of there, will you? He didn't die in a plane crash.
So to speak.
Anyway,
My finger slipped. I'm sorry.
your finger slipped. So that was at least that's what the initial report is. We'll try to give you as much information as we can. It was off the coast near where I grew, not where I grew up, but where I currently live. I didn't grow up there. I didn't grow up. Hey, Vic, do me a favor, okay?
What?
Just take all those CDs and get them out of there, okay?
Well, I don't.
Just get them out of there, all right? The other thing that I found to be very interesting was that... Now, what is this? Leonard Skinner, take it off.
I'm sorry.
Your finger slipped.
Yeah, it slipped.
Is your finger just slipping every time I hear something? It's from some guy that died in a plane crash. Get you here. Slip on this, man. See this finger? Why don't you slip on that? Turn it off.
I'm sorry. Won't happen again, Phil.
Get Craig out of the bathroom.
Taking a dump.
It's been 20 minutes, okay? Get him out of the bathroom. Man.
He's in mid-wipe.
I beg your pardon?
He's mid-wipe.
Mid-wipe. I want a guy in here.
Phil, I'm trying to do the very best that I can. It's late breaking news, trying to give all the information that we can.
Anyway, I remember flying Alaska a couple of times. Okay, come on, man. Turn it off. By the way, it's pretty good. What is that?
Endangered species?
Can I borrow that?
Sure.
Thanks. Anyway, it's the Phil Hendrie Show. 1-800-449-8686 is the number. 1-800-449-8686. Just keep that crap away from me, okay? All right, let's go over here to San Antonio. Hi, you're on the Phil Hendrie Show.
Yeah, Phil, how you doing?
Good. Got to turn that down.
Yeah, Phil, I am calling from San Antonio, but I am from the Los Angeles area, and I wanted to get some information on that Alaska Airlines crash, but you don't seem to be doing too much coverage of it, and I wanted to know if there's any way that we can...
Well, the news, if you want to get the news on it, you can get it on CNN, okay? As far as I know, I already gave you the information that I have. We're not doing a hard news presentation here.
Well, I'm just curious. I wonder if I get some information on what's going on out there, because I'm in San Antonio right now. And
I got that you're in San Antonio. There's not a hell of a lot that I can do. 70 people on board, 445 it went down, Alaska Airlines, Flight 261.
MDA, I know, I got all of that. But I'm in San Antonio. They ain't reporting on squat. Now, I know your show's, you're out of L.A., right?
Yeah.
All right, why can't you give me some information?
What do you want to know? I gave you everything that you want to know. I got no other information. There's nothing more that I can do for it. Do you understand?
Well, I just, I'm originally from the L.A. area. I'm traveling to a trade show here in San Antonio. I'd appreciate if you give me some information.
That's all that I got.
Well, goddamn, there ain't nothing going on here. And I wonder why you won't do the coverage of it. Why won't you do the coverage of it?
The coverage of a jet going down?
Yeah, the Alaska Airlines jet.
Because frankly, it's a regional story. It's important to Southern California. It doesn't have much bearing in the rest of the country, and we have to move on with our lives here. Okay?
Well, you're playing all the smart-ass Buddy Holly music and playing all that.
That was an engineer who was trying to be a wise guy, okay?
Well, all I'm saying is I'm here in San Antonio. And
I got that you're in San Antonio, sir. You've given me that information now about 16 times that you're in San Antonio.
Why can't you give me some of the news? Now, to my way of thinking...
Sir, I'm not giving you any news because I ain't got it and I don't want to do it, okay? That's the information that I have, Alaska Airlines.
Well, is that the first time they've ever crashed?
I don't know.
All right. Do you know that I heard that Qantas Airlines has never crashed?
Yeah, I heard that.
They've never crashed.
I've heard that.
What are they doing that nobody else is doing? That's a question that I'd have. And
I don't know. They're doing something, aren't they?
They're doing something beautiful.
They're doing something beautiful is right. Whatever Qantas is doing, everybody else ought to do, huh?
Well, they fly over a hell of a lot of water, don't they? I mean...
Well, Alaska was flying over water, too.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I'm out here in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm trying to get some information about Los Angeles because that's where I'm from. And,
well, that's a real nice thing that you're from the Los Angeles area, but right now, all I got is what I gave you, and there ain't too much more than that. And if you want more, then you might turn it on to CNN, okay?
Well, I want a local feel. I want to get the local feel. And,
well, I don't know what you're in San Antonio. You ain't going to get no local feel, okay?
Well, these clowns in San Antonio, they couldn't cover their ass with a garbage can lid. So I'm trying...
Well, whatever, sir. I don't have any information for you. Thank you very much. All right, 1-800-449-8686 is our number. We're going to come back. Bobby Dooley is with us from the Western States Parent Teachers Organization, the Homeowners Association. I guess they had their big chili cook-off yesterday, and they had a Super Bowl party, and we will find how that went. Coming up on the Phil Hendrie Show. Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show here, 1-800-449-8686. We're going to bring on Bobby Dooley here.
I'm sorry, Phil. I swear.
Turn it off. You know something? Let me explain something to you, Vic.
I'm sorry, Phil.
Let me explain something to you, okay?
Yeah.
You know, like 10 years ago, I was playing Buddy Holly music every time a plane crashed, okay? It's old now. It's old. Do you understand what I mean?
But I was just trying the
Yeah, your finger slipped. You were just trying to... It's old. Don't play any Buddy Holly or Richie Valens or anything like that. Just play the... Oh, here we go.
Hello, baby.
Your finger slipped?
Big
Yeah,
Papa speaking.
Okay, well, unslip it. Okay, we all know Buddy, what's his name?
Halle Berry.
No, Buddy Holly Halle Berry. Died in a plane crash, and Ricky Nelson, and the Big Bopper, and all that crap, and Patsy Cline, okay? I ain't going to be spending the whole night playing, Patsy Cline music. Can you dig it?
I'm sorry, Phil.
Yeah, you were just trying to be cute. Uncute. Get with it, and get Craig out of the can.
He's a mid-wipe.
Mid-wipe still. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show here. Bobby Dooley of the Western Estates Homeowners Association is on the line with us from Western Estates. Hi, Bobby. How are you? Okay, hold on for a second. Bobby, you there?
Yeah, Phil.
Okay, we're in a brand new studio, so things are just a little, as I've been reminding all of my listeners ad nauseum for about a week now, a little rough, okay?
No, that's all right.
All right, so you had a Super Bowl party yesterday?
Yeah, we did, Phil. I had a beautiful Super Bowl party, and we had a wonderful Super Bowl buffet, which I created myself, and I'm very proud of it. And you know something? I found out something this year.
How'd you like the game?
Yeah, it was fun. I'm not really a big football fan, but my husband is, and we thought it was a real good time. The Tennessee team looked like they were going to win there at the end, so we had a good time with that. But excuse me, Phil, I found out something this year that was kind of interesting, and I had a lot of the guys coming up to me during the Super Bowl party, during the game. They were really enjoying the food. They were enjoying, and they asked me if I could create something, if I ever thought about catering. And
having your own catering business?
Yeah.
Because your food's that good, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, they said it was.
What did you serve?
Well, we had. I created a baked artichoke dip, which is really, really, really good. My artichoke dip is really, really good. I don't know what else to say. Also, I had chili with the habanero peppers. I make my own spicy barbecue chicken wings, Phil. What I do is I use kind of a combination jerk spice, and I barbecue them myself. So that so they have a nice freshly barbecued flavor. We did a sort of a cut up vegetables and dip. We had chips and beer and soda. I had a Cornish game hen that the guys could make sandwiches out of or use the drumsticks. So they really, really enjoyed it.
Were any of the wives there, or was it just all guys?
There were a couple of the wives were there. And Bill Willingham, who is a neighbor of ours from around the corner, came over to me, and he said to me that it was so good. He has a problem with his wife because she doesn't cook good. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said that he just was sort of embarrassed by her lack of ability in a kitchen. And I've heard this from a lot of husbands, And so I got it in my head to suggest that on Tuesdays I could have a lot of these gals over to my house and show them how to keep a home. And I don't know, I said to Steve earlier tonight, I said, well, why don't I mention it to Phil and see what you think?
Well, you're asking me what you ought to do. I think it sounds like a pretty good entrepreneurial thing. Now, what happened was Bill came up to you and said, you cook really well, and could you teach my wife how to cook? So are you going to have cooking classes?
Well, we thought about something like a gourmet, where we'd have gourmet classes and get all the gals up to speed on a lot of the different dishes that are out there. But I don't know, Phil. So many of these husbands are so disappointed because Bill had mentioned to me that his wife is just terrible in the kitchen. And I've heard this from so many guys. And I remember last night saying to Steve before we went to bed, I said, thank God the Lord gave me the ability to keep my men happy and to be able to actually put an edible plate of food in front of my husbands, and not whatever slop it is a lot of these women serve their husbands. Because if you were at the Super Bowl party that I was at yesterday, there were so many unhappy men talking about how bad their wives cook and how good I cooked. And I said, well, I'd be very happy to have some kind of a cooking class.
I've seen a lot of these little gourmet, these little postcards that come in the mail, like inviting, like Maria gets a lot of this stuff, gourmet classes. I don't know some of the stores that they have them at.
Well, like Crate and Barrel. Crate and Barrel has things like that. And
yeah, Crate and Barrel, I guess. And what are those gourmet kitchen places?
Bristol Farms has a nice one, too. And they'll do that. And the reason for that, Phil, is because you have so many. That's gourmet. I'm just talking about some basic things like just a basic baked artichoke dip, a basic buffalo wing, something basic to keep their men happy. a lot of these women don't have that, have that talent. And I don't know what it is, but I'm good at it. And when you have a lot of men saying to you, as Bill did, why don't you do something, an informal gourmet class, and get the gals up to speed? And I said I'd be happy to. The problem is, Phil, a lot of these women have decided to forsake their men and knowing what they're doing in a kitchen because they want to work. And
they all have jobs, huh?
A lot of them have jobs, yeah. And so, they're going out there and they're doing whatever it is that they do. In the meantime, they've got a husband sitting at home who is not happy with the food that they're putting on the table, is not happy with the slop. And forgive me, Phil, for using the term.
Well, what do you mean slop? I mean,
these men talked to me yesterday about the unedible slop that their wives stick in front of their faces each night after they come home from a hard day at work. See, I'm old-fashioned. I really believe that if a man is out working hard all day, you better believe it's a woman's job to present to him a delicious plate for his dinner. And if all you can do is throw some unedible slop, greasy slop on a plate and toss it in front of him at night, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And
well, I don't know if the problem is widespread where you live. I don't know how many women actually have that problem.
Well, I can tell you a lot of the women that I know. And so what I'm going to do on Tuesday nights, Phil, is have kind of a gourmet class. This is an opportunity for me to make my mark and shape and mold a lot of these women so that they get their heads and their rear ends wired together a little bit. This is a golden opportunity to show these women how I've been able to keep my men, my husband, and my 3 sons happy. And Dylan, Seth, and Justin, and my husband, Steve, I can whip up a good plate. What can I tell you?
Bobby Dooley is with us here from the, hold on, Bobby, from the Western States Homeowners Association. They had their Super Bowl gala, and basically it was just you cooking for how many guys?
Well, it was about 30 guys, Phil, and there was me, and there were about 3 other women who just came with their husbands.
And to a man, they all came up to you and told you how good the food was that you prepared and how lousy their wives cook?
Well, almost, yeah. They, as depressing as it sounds, yeah. A lot of them said that they couldn't get down a lot of that crap that their wives served them. And
all right, so Bobby, if you put on a class on Tuesday morning or whatever, you're going to have the neighborhood women come to your house and learn how to cook. You're going to be making a few enemies there.
I don't think so.
I do. I think you're going to be making a couple of enemies with these women if you're going to be saying, well, you know what, your husband's complained to me that your food sucks, and so you need to come over to our house.
Phil, a dinner party is the last great art, and I don't know how many of these women know how to put on a beautiful dinner party. What I can do with a lot of these gals is hire them to work in my own kitchen and hire...
You're going to hire your neighbors to work in your kitchen?
Sure.
How?
Prep chef. I could use them as preparation chefs. I can use them to wash dishes or whatever. These are women whose husbands are so disappointed with their cooking that I need to start from square one with a lot of these gals, put them to work washing dishes, put them to work scrubbing out pots and pans, peeling potatoes, peeling carrots, and then we'll see whether or not they can actually cook something that someone can keep down for longer than 5 minutes. I can hire these women. My friends, Phil, they're wonderful gals, but they don't know a lot about. And a dinner party is a really wonderful. To be able to successfully hold a dinner party is a lost art. And, you get out your best china, your best crystal. The men drink, and the women show the house, and you have a good time. And
or we're talking about a dinner party now, or a Super Bowl party, or
just the refined art of being able to prepare a beautiful dish and actually have people enjoy it. And that's what we're talking about. And so I think, Phil, if you talk about a dinner party, a man is the highest echelon of the evolution of mammals, okay?
All right.
The dinner party is the highest skill that I think a woman can learn in keeping a man happy and in keeping a beautifully appointed home. A beautifully appointed home, a wonderful dinner party. I'll tell you, I'm in heaven. And that's what I do, and I do it well. And the women around here, this is my opportunity, Phil, to mold them.
Well, when are you going to start with your first class? You said Tuesday morning or Tuesday night?
We can do it on Tuesday night after a lot of these women come home from their, quote, careers, end quote. I got my fingers up in the air when I say that, Phil.
So you're not taking their careers very seriously, huh?
Well, anyway, it'll be Tuesday night, and we'll see how it happens.
Okay, Bobby Dooley is with us here at 1-800-449-8686, and she just had a Super Bowl party with her baked artichoke dip and her chili and her barbecued wings, and apparently a lot of the women on her street couldn't put on a dinner party or a Super Bowl gala or bake an artichoke dip to save their lives. So she's going to have some kind of a cooking class at her house on Tuesday nights. 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. It's the Phil Hendrie Show. Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. And Bobby Dooley with us from the Western States Homeowners Association, talking about the Super Bowl. It's actually not really about the Super Bowl party you had yesterday. It's about the number of men who came up to you and said the food was good. Huh, Bobby?
It was gratifying, Phil. There were a lot of guys who came up and said...
now, you had a baked artichoke dip, chili, spicy barbecued chicken wings that you made yourself, right?
That's right. We also had a variety of chips and dips and things like that, Phil. And I did a salsa that I think the guys really liked. And it was amazing, the number of them that...
They were all complaining about their wives cooking, huh?
It wasn't so much that they were complaining about their wives cooking. They were complaining about how uncreative their women were. And I've always maintained, and I know a lot of women do, that it's a woman's job to provide for the men who are out there working hard a good meal.
And what do you say to women who say it's not their job to be in the kitchen?
Well, wait a second. If they're stay-at-home women and if their husbands are out earning most of the money, I don't understand.
No, what do you say to women who say to you, I have a job, I don't have time, why doesn't he cook for himself?
I say a lot of these women with their, quote, careers, end quote, are, dabbling in it. And, in the meantime, their homes are stuff. I don't understand your question. But,
well, I thought it was pretty clear. I can hear that. Whatever that is. Let me go over to, am I hearing it in the Q speaker? Okay, brother. Let me go over to Greenville on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hi, you're on the air.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to the quote-unquote careers that she's speaking of. I have a master's degree. I'm not dabbling in my career. I am committed to my career as much as my husband is committed to my career. And I'm very happy, excuse me.
Well, what kind of a plate do you put in front of him at night?
Ma'am, I put a plate in front of my husband sometimes, and he puts a plate in front of me sometimes.
Oh,
because
you have one of those. You have one of those evolved relationships. Is that it?
Excuse me.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let the lady in Greenville finish, Bobby, and then you can say.
I'm sorry, Phil. Okay.
I'm very happy that you are pleased with the situation that you have chosen for yourself. But I'm sort of concerned that as a woman, you are judging other women for the choices that they have made.
Well, you know something? I had a lot of guys come up to me yesterday and say that their wives have their, what you want to call their careers, and in the meantime, these men are gagging to death on the slop that they're putting in front of them. Now, if you have one of these, quote, evolved relationships, I don't know that your husband knows what he's missing. He really doesn't know what he's missing. Okay? Hello?
She hung up.
Oh, she hung up?
Yes, she hung up. I guess she was angry or mortified or both, but she hung up. Here is Lawrenceville on the. Maybe you want to finish that thought?
Well, Phil, obviously I touched a nerve with her, is all I'm going to say.
Okay, but you were saying that if she has an evolved relationship, he doesn't know what he's missing?
Yes, that's right. A man that chooses a woman with a career, I guess is what these gals want to call it, he doesn't know what he's missing.
He doesn't know that he's missing a really good meal at night from a woman who can put a good plate on the table.
That's right. That is exactly right. And I think probably I touched a nerve with that lady. I don't know.
All right. Here is Lawrenceville on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi.
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
I am very proud to stay at home and take care of my children.
Good for you. Good for you.
Put food on the table, but at the same time, I feel it's a little strong to think that you can get these women who have not chosen this route and change their minds. I think that
well, it's an opportunity that I have to really mold them and shape them.
But they're not going to be wanting. They don't want to be molded. I have lots of friends at church and things like that in the same position, but they're not going to want that. And I think you're going to cause a lot of problems in your neighborhood if you do that. I think
that's my opinion. That's my opinion. I agree with you, ma'am. I think that there's going to be, Bobby, a backlash.
Phil, if you had talked to the men that I talked to
yesterday.
But the men
aren't the women, and the women are the ones that are going to control all of the relationships and things like that. And they're not going to let anybody talk to you or come to any more parties at your house if this thing goes on.
Well, wait a second. I'm giving these gals an opportunity. Why are you saying that I cause a problem when I'm giving them the opportunity to learn how to do a nice dinner party, to put something down in front of a man that isn't going to give him, the runs for 3 days, for God's sake. And this is all part and parcel, I think, of helping, not hurting a family.
Well, honestly, I think if you were really wanting to help get the food on the table, then you should maybe offer up a service where you cook the food, because they are not going to want to do that.
What about that, Bobby? What about you?
No, Phil. Obviously, I'm not in the business of you mentioned catering.
Yeah, my sister has a catering business because she cooks very well, and she caters like.
No, Phil, I'm talking about men who came to me out of desperation yesterday at the game. And they said, they were complimenting me, and they said, you don't know the nights that I wish I had something to eat. Something to eat. Do you understand what they're saying?
Exactly. And if you cooked it, then the women wouldn't have to worry about cooking it. Plus the fact that
I have
they're
three.
Going to be so irate, and they're going to probably backlash even more.
I have 4 men of my own that I keep happy. But listen to what I'm offering. I'm offering these women an opportunity to do something they've never done before, and that is create a beautiful dinner party. And do you have dinner parties?
You know what? I have not had the opportunity to serve one, but I've.
It's a wonderful, wonderful. Your best china, and your best crystal, and the dinner party's a lost art.
It is. I would agree with you, but at the same time, like you were saying something about having them come over and be your sous chef and stuff
that's
like
what
that.
I'm saying.
That's just not going to happen.
What I was going to say is a lot of these gals that can't cook, like the lady I talked to who hung up on me, she would do much better in her life rather than chasing some career if she'd come over to my house and spend a couple of hours as my prep chef. You'll reach the highest level of womanhood when you have a successful dinner party. The highest level of womanhood. You think that's funny, huh?
I honestly...
You really think that's funny?
I think it's funny because I think that having family and all of that comes way before trying to impress other people.
Well, we'll see.
All right, thank you for your call. It's Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. Back with Bobby Dooley. Phil Hendrie Show at 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. Bobby Dooley from the Western States Parent Teachers Organization and the Western States Homeowners Association is with us. And this little post-Super Bowl discussion that we're having has more to do with the Super Bowl parties. As we bring Bobby on the line, Bobby, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we got a lot of people holding on to talk with you, and your essential point was. That a lot.
Well, Phil, my essential point is that my husband believes, and I believe, that a woman should prepare a good plate for her man, that a woman should know how to prepare a proper dinner party, And if someone comes up to you at a Super Bowl party and says, you know, we love the baked artichoke dip, or we love your chili, or what have you, can you do something with my wife? Can you teach her something? And I said, yes, of course I can. I think every woman can learn how to do it. You know, Phil, there's a very popular radio show, Dr. Laura Schlesinger.
Yes.
And she says, I am my kid's mom.
Yes.
Well, Phil, I am my husband's wife. And my husband believes that he should have a good plate in front of him. And I'm my husband's wife, and I'm very proud to say that. And I think a lot of women have lost it, and they're ashamed of it. And, you know, I can bring them back. At least the women at Western Estates, I think I can.
Yeah, let's start with the women in your neighborhood. And
then we'll conquer the world tomorrow.
Okay, great. 1-800-449-8686, Midland on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
My name's Laura. I just called to make a couple comments about Miss Dooley's talk here. First of all, I don't think that careers and cooking have one or the other thing to do with each other. I think that somebody can have a full-time career, come home, make a great meal, it be nutritious, etc. Second of all, I think I just feel you're a little bit arrogant on your part to think that you can be the savior for your neighborhood. I think that also the sound of, no offense or anything like this, but the sound of the food that you cooked at the Super Bowl doesn't sound like any great shake to me.
Well, it's what I do with it. It's what I do with my baked artichoke dip.
But finally, I need to say that most men.
Well,
wait, let me finish.
Okay.
The point you made about the height of womanhood is to have a great dinner party. I'll tell you, most men don't want to go to a dinner party. Okay.
And why do you suppose that is?
And second of all,
and why do you suppose that is?
Wait a minute.
Why do you suppose that is, though?
No, wait a minute. Entertainment, nutrition, good meals are all separate issues. And so I think you're kind of mixing and mashing lemons, oranges, and onions. And
I don't think so.
I don't think your point's going to get across very far, especially with the way that you're approaching it as the savior to women of the world. I think not only arrogant, but a major ego problem on your hands. And I'd take a look at yourself before you talk about others. I really would.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say this, Phil. The three things that you mentioned, lemons, oranges, and onions, okay?
Well, you know what?
Do you know what?
I trained with...
Do you know what?
I trained with the culinary Olympic
captain. I could make a good dish out of that. I could make a good dish out of those three things together.
And I can make fantastic dishes out of it. But you know what?
Just out of curiosity, what would you make out of that?
I could make sangria, which is a chaser for tequila.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's good. Nice alcoholic drink.
Could you do that? Could you do that? Could you do that?
Sure, I could if I was into alcohol. Thank you.
Well, I don't think you thought of it, though. Be honest.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so you didn't think of it.
I thought about it. In fact, I would have put those into some kind of a salsa, something to put onto, a barbecue dish or something like that. But I would not have thought of an alcohol, and especially if I'm in the Parent-Teacher Association.
Have you ever had a drink?
No, I don't drink.
Well, you sound like the kind of person that probably judges other people because they do. And
absolutely not.
I think
can't stand to listen to you talking about others, and I think somebody has to stop people like you so that we don't have to listen to you on the radio when we're trying to enjoy our drive.
All I'm trying to do is teach the women in my neighborhood how to make...
It's not your job to teach the women in your neighborhood.
Well, why were the men...
Take care of yourself. Responsibility for oneself.
So you want to stop me from making men happy, is that it?
I don't think you're going to do it. No
well,
offense.
I'll tell you what.
Think you're going to, you know what, put yourself $50,000 into this business, and I can guarantee you will fail.
Well, you know something? You've got a little bit of a jealousy problem.
No, not at all.
A little bit of a jealousy problem,
Absolutely
I think.
not.
Well,
I have a master's degree. I have a fantastic job. I have a fantastic family. No, not at all.
Well, then why would you be upset? Why would you be upset?
I feel good about what I'm doing.
But you didn't think of sangria.
Well, I don't drink.
Well, the point being that the men came up to me at the Super Bowl party yesterday.
Good meal, I'll tell you what, that's not very nutritious. Just feed them alcohol.
Well, a good cook must think for everyone, not just themselves. To be a good cook, you can't just think about your taste.
The situation here and what you're looking at in the future,
and seriously,
go from there.
You sound pretty selfish. You'll only cook what you like, not what other people like.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. I don't think alcohol is a necessary part of any meal.
I will tell you that Bill Willingham came up to me at the party. He said he has problems at home, He loved the baked artichoke dish. His wife.
I'd be happy. Why don't you tell him? I'd be happy to give your wife the recipe.
You know, you know something. Your husband has got to be tired of macaroni and cheese by now.
I don't cook macaroni and cheese ever.
He's got to be
tired. In my life.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Don't.
Well, I find that hard to believe.
I studied 8 years under the U.S. Culinary Olympic captain, and you know that is not even in my vocabulary. I'm sure it's in yours though, and that's why you asked me how many times I make it.
What is that?
I said I'm sure that's part of your vocabulary and your regiment for cooking.
What is that?
That's why you asked how often I make it. But anyways, I'll let you go on to the next caller. I'm interested to hear what you got to say.
You know what, dear? Give up the fried bologna sandwiches, okay?
No, you know what? It's amazing. This is obviously your repertoire. And you know what? It's just a very poor one.
Yeah, Bobby, what do you know about fried bologna sandwiches?
Exactly.
Oh, no. Listen to what she's saying. I'm my husband's wife. Are you your husband's wife?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
All right.
You know, but I would do a little bit to something better than fried bologna sandwich.
Darling, I don't make fried bologna sandwiches, okay?
Well, for all I know, you make burnt-out eggshells on toast.
I make a delicious baked artichoke dip.
I've heard that. Pull out the joy of cooking and let's get into something good.
I had Bill Willingham come up to me at the party and say, "What
Bill
can you
smell?"
Oh, listen to you.
I'm just saying, you're repeating yourself. Give us something new.
I'm trying to tell you, why would I be doing this if the husbands didn't ask me? And what does that mean?
That's great that they asked you, and do it in a positive manner. You're very egotistic in your assumption that you can go out there and mold these women into your sous chef that will eventually create them to be a good chef. And maybe they don't want to be. I enjoy cooking. You enjoy it.
This is my opportunity. There's a lot of these men that are frustrated in a lot of ways, sexually and otherwise.
Well, I won't go there, but I'm just telling you.
You're not going there. Why?
There's other ways to help them to make this assumption
and you can't
that
go
you are the end-all, be-all. I'm not, and I don't think you are either.
Well, and you can't go there. Why?
Okay, well, I'm going to turn the radio.
All right, her car phone's crapping out. Thank you, ma'am, for your call. 1-800-449-8686. Can't go where?
Well, Phil, I thought it was interesting. You know, Bill Willingham and some of the guys, my husband told me that they talk. A lot of them are sexually frustrated. And a lot of this boils down to one thing, Phil. Do you have a woman in your house or don't you guys? Can she put together a nice artichoke dip? Can she do the nice dishes? Can she do a dinner party? And can she satisfy you in bed? And there's a lot of things I don't know, Phil. I think about what I could do for these women, and a lot of it, has to do with cooking. A lot of it has to do with some kind of
what, sexual technique? I mean, Bobby.
Well, Phil, somebody has got to help these women help their men. And yes, if I can do something, demonstrate some techniques beyond cooking, yes.
Look, if I were you, I would keep it to cooking, and I wouldn't go into anything else. I think it's a very, very extreme assumption to involve yourself in the private sexual lives of your friends, okay?
But the husbands tell my husband this. Steve tells me.
Whatever the guys sit around and talk about among themselves should be what the guys talk about among themselves, and I think you should stay out of it. Hold the line. Because next thing you know, she's going to be having a cooking class and sexual technique, and we're talking big trouble. 1-800-52... Put away the bologna sandwiches. 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show. The Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. Bobby Dooley with us here from the Western States Homeowners Association. A lot of women, especially Bobby, are calling in tonight. When you talk about being able to make a nice baked artichoke dip for the Super Bowl party, they say you sound arrogant and that your repertoire is not that wide. Bobby? Sorry. Bobby, there?
Yeah, Phil. I think that what they're really saying is that they're angry that what I'm saying could possibly be true. that their men are not happy, that...
Probably tired of macaroni and cheese.
That's my husband, Steve. Hold on, Steve. That their men are not getting what they want, not only in the kitchen but in the bedroom. Okay, because there is a direct correlation between a man's unhappiness with his wife in the kitchen and his unhappiness with his wife in the bedroom. And I think that is...
Well, is that why you made this allusion to sexual technique? And
I'm just saying that these women probably need a little something more than just some training in the kitchen, because you have an awful lot of these people who like to talk a good game, but I know how to do my man both in the bedroom and in the kitchen, and sometimes both ways in the kitchen, you see. And
I'm supposed to be getting what out of this?
I'm just making a point of reference, okay?
You're not kidding either, Phil.
I can hear. Say hello to Steve, and please tell him to either get on the phone or pipe down, okay?
He wants you to either get on the other end or pipe down.
I understand. It's really good.
Okay. But anyway.
Okay, let me take a phone call here. Maiden on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air, ma'am.
Okay. What I don't understand is why you're involving your husband's friend's sex life on the air.
Well, because I think a lot of them need that kind of training.
Training. If you can't satisfy your man in the bedroom,
you got it.
I mean,
that's right.
How come you think you can teach your husband's
Listen, sweetheart,
friends in the bedroom?
Hold on. I satisfy my husband in the bedroom.
Well, that's okay. I give my husband whatever he needs in the bedroom. But
yeah,
you don't need to be
I guess I have to take your word for that. But what I'm saying is, when you can't cook for a man, you can't.
I can cook.
You can't
cook anything under the
I'm not
sun.
talking about you. Why is this about you? We're talking about the other women. You can't make it about you.
I ain't making it about
You're
me.
making it all about you. And I think that's really short-sighted of you.
Well, excuse me, but...
You're making it all about you.
I called in because of you and your attitude. It was on the phone.
My attitude is on the phone. What about my attitude on the phone?
I mean, you're replying on yourself. You're not replying for other women, because there's a hell of a lot of other women out there that can cook and satisfy their men just as well as you can.
No, well, they don't know how to cook in my street, and that's what... Are you listening to what I'm saying?
I come in while you was talking to that other woman.
Where are you? Where do you live? What is this? Who am I talking with?
You're talking to Maiden.
Maiden. Where is that, darling?
In North Carolina.
I don't know it.
Well, it's in North Carolina.
And
well, look,
ain't nobody can mess with us country girls down here, because we can do anything that we can down here for our men.
And tell me the last time you made a baked artichoke dip. Not ever. I thought so. So when's the last?
That's all right, because I can make a raw lobster for your ass.
Well, for my ass.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you something, country girl. Have you had a dinner party lately?
A dinner party?
Yeah.
Look, I run banquet at the Renaissance Motel.
Oh well, geez.
In Charlotte, so I can tell.
When you put the dinner rolls on the plate, do you do it with your hand or with those little pincers?
Pincers.
There you go.
You don't use your hands.
When you put the salad in someone's bowl, do you do it with your hand or with a salad fork?
With a salad fork. Anybody in their right mind would know, to do that, okay?
There are some instances when it's okay to use your hand.
Well, some people probably not prefer that.
And you don't know that, do you?
Well, I wouldn't want my hand, somebody else's hands in my food.
Well, it depends on who it is, doesn't it?
Well, that's all right, because I deal with people's food all the time. And make a damn good living at it.
And you've never thrown a dinner party?
I throw dinner parties as a matter of fact, I did last night.
And what did you have? What was the main course? Now watch it. You're talking to an expert.
That's all right. I made some buffalo wings, thank you very much.
Buffalo wings at your dinner party.
Buffalo wings and beer.
Oh, what a dinner party.
Oh, you damn right, because we're a bunch of rednecks down here in North Carolina.
Did you have paper plates?
No,
darling, you're not representing your race very well. Where would fork go?
A salad fork.
Yeah.
Listen, okay.
Okay, where's the dessert spoon go? You don't know, Jack. You don't know Spoo.
Okay, look, I gotta bounce out of this caller. That's about the fourth S-bomb and F-bomb she dropped. So that's just consider the source, Phil. That's just exactly what I thought would happen.
Just the filthy little mouth on the little thing.
All right, but you were antagonizing her. Was where does the dinner fork come from, and where does the all of that stuff?
Phil, that language comes only from women who don't know where the dessert spoon goes. Okay, if you know what I mean.
All right, here is Bernie on the Phil Hendrie show. Bernie on the Phil Hendrie show. Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
I think this lady is the Miss Horty-Torty lady that probably sits home all day long and does her nails. I'm a career woman. No, listen, I'm an attorney.
Oh, you have a career. Well.
Yes. I'm sorry. The career I have, many men have.
Pardon me.
Excuse me. My husband, I might make chicken fried steak. I might make hamburgers. I might even bring home a pizza every once in a while. He is very happy with that. And he's not sexually frustrated. If somebody is sexually frustrated because of the food their wife cooks, they have a problem. And also, men do not get together and say, oh, wow, my wife made too much chicken fried steak. I'm sexually frustrated. I don't know what your husband's like, but
I'm talking about women who can't cook. They can't cook. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but anybody can cook. Put a bunch of recipes.
Well, darling, anybody can make chicken fried
bowl and cook it up.
Anybody can make chicken. Anyone can make chicken fried steak. But I'll tell you, a woman that makes chicken fried steak, she doesn't know how to do the old, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You're making chicken fried steak?
My husband is very satisfied in that department.
No, I doubt it.
You know what? Just because I don't make baked artichoke dip does not make my husband's unhappy. At my Super Party, I served a big bowl of queso. Everybody loved it.
A woman that makes baked artichoke dip gives out backstage passes. Think about it.
Okay, that's all right. I thank you very much. 1-800-449-8686. Backstage passes. Phil Hendrie Show here, 1-800-449-8686. Was I overmodulating there, or is it just the fact that my headphones are cranked up to patent pending and I'm bleeding from my nose? My headphones? Thanks. By the way, Craig, you do a great job there with that bumper music, but don't get too faggy with that Seven Voyages stuff. Okay, anyway, 1-800, I know. Okay, 1-800-449, 1-800-449-8686. The Rams win the Super Bowl. How is that in a world where normal physics, the normal rules of the universe still exist? How is that possible? How is it possible that throughout my entire life, ball game after ball game, Roman Gabriel dropping back and seeing Jim Marshall bearing down on him and going, oh, and fumbling or eating it or being dropped for a sack. Pat Hayden busting his finger on some AstroTurf someplace. Wendell Tyler, the ball squirting up out of a pile of bodies as he dives into a pile at the end zone. I always remember seeing Wendell Tyler diving into that line pile at the end zone and seeing the ball going up in the air. Seeing the ball just squirting up in the air. And even the great times, the great Eric Dickerson, watching him pop into the secondary. When Eric Dickerson got into the secondary, goodbye. Goodbye. He'd shift, change directions, get through the line, squeeze past a couple of lunging linebackers, and when it was just him one-on-one with safeties or cornerbacks, it was all over. All over. You had to stop him at the line, or you had to stop him with the linebackers because there wasn't a safety or a cornerback going to bring him down. But all those years of seeing that kind of frustration, and I mean, I could recount it here ad nauseum. Those of you who possibly, like myself, grew up Ram fans, because I grew up in Southern California, and they were the team here. They used to pack them in at the Coliseum. That's what they tell me. I wasn't old enough to see it. They used to get like 100,000 at the Coliseum. 105,000. You believe that, Craig? That Rams would pack the Coliseum. Then after a while, they just started to stink that place out like it was just, the stench. So then they moved out of there and they went down to Anaheim, stunk that joint out for another, whatever it was, 15 years. And then they moved to Atlanta, or where is it? St. Louis. Where's that? Oh, I know, Budweiser. Yeah, St. Louis. And they win the Super Bowl. What? All those years. Dieter Brock. They brought this guy down from Canada. He couldn't complete a pass. I could throw a better screen pass than this guy. This guy throwing a 5-yard swing pass was a new adventure in pain. You didn't know. Picked off. Was the receiver going to be able to catch it and not be injured by the awkward position he was putting him in by some lunging, barreling, stampeding linebacker? And then there was, think of the great quarterbacks they had. Jeff Kemp. Well, boy, baby. I mean, nice guy, the son of Jack Kemp. Not that that's any recommendation, but this is not a quarterback. Vince Ferragamo, okay. He was all right for like 3 seasons. That was it. We got 3 years out of Vinny. And then we had Jim Everett. What happened there? There's a guy that should have been a good quarterback. That guy had a great arm. The guy was 6'4", had all the size in the world, pretty game guy. I don't know, threw off his back foot. He was just weird. There was something wrong with him, too. There was always something wrong with him. Always one player shot. And then let's talk about these running backs they had before Dickerson. Now, just forget about Wendell Tyler. Let's talk about, like, Les Josephson. What? Some white guy who was he was a meathead. So was that Larry Smith, another meathead. Then they had the scooter Dick Bass. He sucked. John Arnett from USC. Okay, so what else are you going to give me? Then they had those great defenses, right? And that year they had 1969, they went 11 and they were 11-1. And they went into Detroit and got beat by the Lions, a Lions team, but that was horrible. I mean, the late 60s, just horrible times for the Detroit Lions. They sucked. And the Rams were practicing wearing baseball caps. The Lions found out about it, got so pissed off they went out and spanked them that Sunday. And then they wind up losing to the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship, in the NFL Championship game. And the Vikings go to the Super Bowl, and they lose to the Chiefs. But you know what? It just saved me more heartache because the Rams weren't going to do much better. And year after year, you'd see them go to Bloomington. You'd see them go to Green Bay. You'd see them go to Chicago. You'd see them go to Giant Stadium in New York. You'd see them go to any northern city and get spanked. And they'd go up there to Bloomington, and there was Bud Grant, and there were no heaters or blowers on the sidelines, that frozen field at Bloomington's Metropolitan Stadium, and the Rams would get their ass kicked. They'd go up there to Soldier Field and some other debacle, and God forbid they play in Lambeau Field. Vince Lombardi. You know, my wife's reading a book. I told you about this Friday night. My wife's reading the Vince Lombardi book, When Pride Still Mattered. And she's totally into this book. It's very, I said, I got to have, when you're done with that book, I want that book. I got to read it. It's really interesting. She said, God, I didn't know about this stuff. You grew up a football fan. I said, yeah, I did. She says, you must have loved Vince Lombardi. I said, I hated his guts. Of course I hated his guts. He was great. And he kicked my Rams' asses every time they went up to Lambeau. How am I supposed to like a guy like that? All I remember seeing that squat little guy with his glasses and his hat, and he's just screaming and yelling at these guys, and they go out and they kick the Rams' ass every time they went to Lambeau Field. How could I like a guy like that? I hated Lombardi, and I hated the Packers. You want to know why? Because they won 5 NFL championships, 2 of them Super Bowls. And guess who wasn't winning anything back then? The Rams. And then in the 70s, division championship after division championship. They used to win that division by 4 or 5 games. The closest team to them was the 49ers, and the 49ers were, like 7-7 back when they were playing 14 games. The Rams are winning 13, 12, 11 games a season, breezing to the championship. They'd get into an NFC title game or an NFC divisional playoff with, guess who? The Vikings or the Cowboys. And guess what would happen? You got it, baby. And I'll never forget, and I forget the year, but I'll never forget the game. It was Dallas and Rams for the NFC title, go to the Super Bowl, mid-70s, and I'm watching the game, I'm thinking, this is the year. This is the year. 21-0 at the half, Dallas, and you knew it was over. You knew it was over. That's how rotten and that's how heartbreaking that team was. And then along came the early 80s. And then came the great, you know something, I'll say this for Ray Malavasi. Sloppy, fat little Ray Malavasi that everybody made fun of. Guess who took him to the Super Bowl? Ray Malavasi. Chuck Knox didn't take him there. And George Allen didn't take him there. And guess what? John Robinson didn't get him there. But fat, sloppy little Ray Malavasi got him to a Super Bowl. somehow, through sheer force of will, got those Rams to a Super Bowl. How he did it, I don't know. They played one of the most uninspired-looking NFC Championship games against Tampa Bay, 9-0. So it was, who was their kicker then? Frank Corral was their kicker. Kicked 3 field goals, that's all they needed. Thanks, man. And they beat Philly, and they go to the Super Bowl, and you're thinking, oh, God, finally, we're in a Super Bowl. And I was jacked. There was Jack Youngblood. They had Billy Waddy. They had the 2 best cornerbacks in football at that time, Mike, Rod Perry and Pat Thomas, who Lester Hayes said that Pat Thomas and Rod Perry, these were his idols. These guys are the 2 best corners in professional football. Even better than your boys there with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mel Blount and that other bum, and I forget his name. I say bum. They went out and beat them. The Steelers beat the Rams 31-19. That was a good ball game for 3 quarters. For 3 quarters, I was sitting there hoping and praying. And then guess what happened? 4th quarter, Ferragamo launches one. Bradshaw launches one to Lynn Swann, or it was a John Stallworth, I don't know who, and it misses Nolan Cromwell's fingertip. And they lose another ball game. And you know what? It's the same one. Then the next year, 80. What happened in 1980? Well, I'll tell you. They had another great year. They get into the playoffs. First round, Dallas kicks their ass, clear out of there. Just clean back to L.A. Went down like an elastic. I just had Craig dump my last comment because visions of the Grease Man were dancing in my head. It was bad. Then came the 80s. John Robinson became the head coach. A new fire, a new inspiration, a new Ram team. Yeah, they were in Anaheim, but that's okay. If you live in L.A., it's suburban town anyway, man. You could go to Anaheim, go to L.A. What's the difference? And he drafted a kid named Eric Dickerson out of SMU, and we had a good ball control offense. We had a return to some of the great defenses. We had the great Mel Owens there and Jimmy Collins at linebacker, and we had a good solid linebacking core. We had Jack Youngblood still. We had Gary Jeter, and they drafted a kid named Kevin Green. And the offensive line, Dennis Hara, Bill Bain. Who was that center? Doug Smith. They had a good offensive line. Jackie Slater, the great Jackie Slater. Ball club was good. Dickerson goes out, pops for 2,105 yards in the 84 season. Rushes in 1985 for 240 yards against the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. And, of course, the Rams somehow found a way. In 85, they lose to the Bears. They get shut out at Soldier Field. And in 84, we make the wild card game at Anaheim Stadium, but the Giants beat us. The Giants, with a guy named Bill Parcells as the head coach. Who was he? I didn't know who this guy was. Bill Parcells? John Robinson's a better coach than Bill Parcells, I said to myself as I walked out of there, the last drippings of my monster beer going down my throat. I didn't know who this guy was. He went out, he beat the Rams. And guess what happened? They get rotten in the late 90s. They lost that NFC title game in 89-90 to the 49ers, and they stunk after that, and then they left town. And you know what it was? It was good riddance to bad rubbish. I couldn't stand it any longer. No self-respecting fan could stand it any longer. And I said, okay, they're gone. I don't have to put any more money into them. I don't have to put any more emotional trauma. It's over. And I said, well, I'll root for the Dolphins, I'll root for the Vikings, whatever, I'll find another team. And they moved to St. Louis, and predictably, they start to smell it up real good, and you get like the rumblings. Kind of your stomach kind of rumbles a little bit just before you let with the cheesiest, probably most fetid, corrosive stench fart in your life. That was the Rams, just a little rumbling, and then here comes their foul stench out of St. Louis. But guess what? They go 4-12, 3-12, whatever the hell. Then all of a sudden, like out of the blue, all their draft picks, all their trades, and everything that Vermeil was trying to do falls into place. This guy named Warner comes off the bench. They get this kid, Marshall Faulk, out of Indianapolis, wasn't doing anything up there. They get this offense that is dynamic, fast, supercharged, fun to watch, and an underrated defense. Used to call the no-name defense down in Miami. These guys about as no-name as any defense I've ever seen. And they win a Super Bowl. You know what? God bless them. Good luck to them. They earned it. They deserve it. And they're in St. Louis. It's Phil Hendrie Show here. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. Yeah, now we're getting into all the sporting memories. Because after that long tale of woe that I just regaled you with about the Rams, now I'm just remembering about every pathetic, miserable thing I ever involved myself in terms of professional or amateur sports. And you know what it is? It's just you believe in the poetry and the drama and the romance of the game, and not recognizing, there are larger realities, okay? Especially when you're younger. When I used to go out to Dodger games, because Mike was telling me about his friend, your buddy's been thrown out of every major arena in L.A., okay? So he's been thrown out of the sports arena, Staples Center. Oh, he ain't been thrown out of there yet. Thrown out. Think of that. I mean, I got into a fight once at Anaheim. I got into a fist fight at a Giant game at Anaheim, okay? But I almost got arrested by the Anaheim police. But to get thrown out of every major sporting arena in town, man, that's something to be proud of. That's like... So he's been thrown out of the Rose Bowl, the Coliseum, the sports arena, the Forum, and Dodger Stadium and Anaheim Stadium. Six places. You know what? You're just a freaking troublemaker if you do it. That's happening to you. He got thrown out of the sports arena for throwing sunflower seeds at the male cheerleaders. The male cheerleaders for who? For what team? The Clippers? Get out of here. Throwing sunflower seeds at the male. I got to tell you something just as an aside. Do you remember the guy that ran onto the field and tackled that ball player last season? I forget who the ball player was, and I forget. It was a New York Met, I think. And he ran onto the field and tackled the guy. And later they interviewed him, and they said, why'd you do it? And he said, well, we had a standing bet. He and his friends had a standing bet, something like $4,000. I had, and I looked at that, I said, I couldn't believe my eyes, because I had the very same kind of standing bet with my friends. The first guy to jump the rail at Anaheim Stadium and tackle the Ram mascot. $3,000. That was the deal. And we all agreed to it, all shook hands on it. And you know what? There just wasn't enough beer in that stadium. There weren't enough Monster beers at $4 a pop to get me to vault that railing and just do a Matt Millen on the guy. Because this guy would walk out there with the big helmet, and he'd be dancing around, and you wanted to club him. You wanted to go down there with some kind of a clubbing device. He's dancing around with his big ram head and his idiotic, oh, man. What are the Clippers? Do the Clippers have some dude dressed as a sailboat? Do they got some guy out there with like a big clipper nose and for hair it's like a sail? The Clipper dudes, I'm told by my producer, are called Fanamaniacs. The Clipper dudes? What is that about the Clipper dudes? Look, even I know, and I was very irritated and bored most of the time by the cheerleaders, but even I know, if you're going to have cheerleaders, they got to be chicks. I'm sorry, but they have to be. Sports, it's a guy thing. It still is. I don't care how many times you bring your wife and kids to the game. It's still a guy thing. So getting guy cheerleaders out there, it just ain't going to get it done. So your buddy's throwing sunflower seeds up. L.A. Clippers, they got female cheerleaders, but the guys made balloon animals for the kids? And what did the women do? They were the balloons? So, The guys were making balloon animals out of the what? Oh. So there you go. So anyway, this is the Phil Hendrie Show here as we reminisce. We go down memory lane sports-wise here tonight, following the big Super Bowl win of the St. Louis Rams. And for those of you who are, have your own team and your own dreams and your own, your own perceived destinies, so be it. God bless you. Shafe loved them Steelers. But even Shafe, if the Steelers ever moved to, let's say, I don't know, what if they moved to Birmingham, Alabama? That's a steel town. The Birmingham Steelers wouldn't be the same, right? So you can't fault me, and I hear these people saying, well, it doesn't make any difference. Yes, it does, although I'm not going to go so far as to be petty and unfunny at the same time, although I've been both many, many times, like TJ, is it Simmers or Simers, whoever that clown is that writes for the LA Times, and he's bitching and bellyaching all the way to the bank about Georgia Frontiere winning a Super Bowl. Oh, get over it, okay? Let me tell you something about Georgia Frontiere. As much as I do not like the Rams for what they did to me, for what they did to me, what has this got to do with them having a woman for an owner? She has done more and better with that football team than, let's see, Bill Bidwell, Arizona Cardinal owner, universally reviled and thought of as a real empty head. One of the emptier heads in the ownership ranks of the NFL. She's done better than whoever those clowns are that own the Jets, all 16 of them. I don't know. They're changing every day now. She's done better than any of those guys that have owned the Patriots. She's done better than anybody. She's done better than most of these guys. Forget about the Super Bowl that she's won. Her teams have been to the playoffs more often than the guy that owns the Saints. So she's a woman. And her husband died mysteriously off of Golden Beach back in the late 1970s. What's that got to do with anything? A lot of guys are dying mysteriously off of Golden Beach. Well, not off of Golden Beach. They're dying on Golden Beach. Sometimes in the homes that are on Golden Beach. Maybe not so mysteriously, but they're dying. So I think that's very sexist. I think it is wrong. I think that any guy that would say Georgia Frontiere isn't a fit owner because she's a woman ought to be dragged out in the middle of Ventura Boulevard and run over with a Humvee, Schaefer. Anyway, Phil Hendrie here with you tonight at 1-800, what's our number again? 449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. We'll be back. Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686. That number again, 1-800-449-8686. And we're taking your picks this hour for who you think should be nominated for the Pro Football Hall of Fame if they were eligible as players. 1-800-449-8686. So in other words, if they weren't having to wait, is that a proper use of the language? If they weren't having to wait, if they didn't have to wait for retirement, and then the 5 years after that, who do you think? 1-800-449-8686 is our number, and let's see. We'll start off here. Let's see. We'll go to Lancaster on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello, you're on the air.
How you doing, Phil?
Good.
I listened to what you were saying. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so I've got a probably better than average view, I think, of professional football and a lot of quarterbacks because Western Pennsylvania has produced some of the greatest quarterbacks in pro football history.
I know. Dan Marino and
Johnny Unitas come from there. Dan Marino, as you mentioned, come from there. It's been a lot of great quarterbacks come out of there, and so we've had some good times watching a lot of these great quarterbacks. But what I'd say is that take a look at Kurt Warner.
You would nominate Kurt Warner for the Hall of Fame?
Oh, without a doubt. I think that Kurt Warner has got, the arm. He's a rags to riches story. He came from nowhere, Super Bowl champion. Guy's got that kind of charisma, that I think everybody is looking for, and I think he reminds a lot of people of Johnny Unitas too. And I just think he's a great quarterback. I think it's a great success story. And the other thing that I really appreciate about Kurt Warner is the fact that he is a, born-again Christian, and that he does believe in God. And I don't think you can discount the fact that had a lot to do with the fact that, they won the Super Bowl. And
okay, well, hold on a minute. That's very interesting. You think that Kurt Warner, being a born-again Christian, had a lot to do with them winning the Super Bowl?
That's absolutely correct, yeah.
Now, why is that? Because why?
Well, I think it's because God's a very powerful presence in his life, and God is, if you commit yourself to God, and you commit yourself as a, born again, I don't think God's going to let you down. All the confidence comes from God. And so you have the opportunity, I think, to play better football with that kind of confidence. And I think I for one, am very happy to hear that he is a born-again Christian, because I think it sends the right message to young people that if you turn your life over to Jesus Christ, who's the, our Lord and Savior, you'll be successful in life. Jesus saved him from interceptions, I think. I think he saved him from a lot of things.
Jesus saved him from interceptions, in a literal sense.
I really believe in a literal sense, yeah. And
well, let me ask you this. What do you think about a lot of these athletes who thank Jesus? I've been hearing a lot of it lately. I guess as it comes in cycles, but I've heard Kurt Warner. I heard a lot of people, thank you, Jesus. Was it Kurt Warner? Yeah, Kurt Warner's one. And a lot of these ball players.
I think it's refreshing. Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, will save teams from turnovers and eventually save them from losses if they get enough ball players to turn themselves over to our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, but what do you think about all these ball players who are on TV talking about, thank you, Jesus?
Oh, I think it's great. I think there should be more of it. And I think that, right now, I think the more of these ball players that turn their lives over to Jesus and become born-again Christians, Phil, take a look at professional sports as it is. We got a horrible, bad stuff going on. You got ball players involved in murder, ball players involved in manslaughter. When I see the prayer huddles after the game, I take a knee and I pray with them. I think it benefit a lot of us just to hit our knees, and take a knee, thank Jesus for a lot of what's going on, the good stuff as well as the bad stuff too. I think it's a strong thing.
So you'd like to eventually see all ball players, all society, I guess, be born again Christians?
Well, I like to see everybody take a knee, but I'm saying specifically to sports that
but eventually all of society become a born again Christian society, correct?
That's true, Phil. But I think let's start with sports, because I think when you see those ball players take a knee, I think you're seeing these guys giving themselves over to God, humbling themselves. And so that's why I think Kurt Warner is a great ball player from that standpoint, because he has the ingenuity, he has the dream, he has the athleticism, he has the desire. And, yes, he had the team, he had the coaching surrounding him to try to get to where he's going to do. But I tell you, there's nothing better than a guy like that going out there, heaving, chucking that spear, and sending a message to the opposition. He can't be beaten, can't be denied. So I think it's Kurt Warner.
And you like the whole born-again Jesus thing. I've been noticing, hey, Mike, can you think of the other ball players that have said, hey, thank you, Jesus? Because it seems to me I've been seeing a lot of it lately. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm not putting it down. But I've seen a lot of players out there doing that lately, and perhaps there is a movement afoot that I'm not aware of.
Well, Phil, I think the most obvious guy is Reggie White, who is...
yeah, that's the guy that I was trying to... Reggie White, who's the minister?
That's right, he's a minister. And I think it just shows great respect to our Lord and Savior when boxers make the sign of the cross, the bell, too. And when you see these guys making the sign of the cross after they score a touchdown or they hit a home run, there's only one sport where I'm not seeing it, and I'm really kind of a little bit disappointed. That's hockey. I don't see anybody make the sign of the cross after scoring a goal. And I don't see anybody in pro basketball making a sign of the cross after a basket.
Well, there's a lot of baskets scored, right?
That's probably it. And there's a lot of Latin baseball players where the gold crosses around their neck and things like that. But for the most part, I think what you've got is a tremendous, tremendous example of a lot of people in Kurt Warner.
All right, sir. Kurt Warner is a guy that you would, and based upon the fact that he's a born-again Christian.
And he's a great example to young kids. You just don't have it. You got this guy, what's his name, who, that guy from the Carolina Panthers. You got this other bum, all these bums out there, and now you got Kurt Warner. And
well, the bum you're talking about, Ray Carruth, is one of them, and then we mentioned Leonard Little on the air last week. Last week about the manslaughter rap, and there's probably more.
Oh, there's a lot of them, all these bums. But Kurt Warner, that's the man for me. And it's a shame that that Little is even on the same team with Kurt Warner. Because I heard what you were talking about him.
Yeah, Leonard Little's the guy who got the manslaughter rap.
Yeah, it's a shame he's even on the same team with Kurt Warner. So that's my opinion anyway.
All right, sir. Thanks for calling. 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show. Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. We're talking with a caller here.
Well, I tell you, I like Led Zeppelin, bumper music, guys. It's very tasty.
I'm glad you like that, pal. We're talking with a caller. What's your name, by the way?
My name's Jay, Phil.
Jay believes that Kurt Warner is more likely to get into the Hall of Fame as a current player than any other because of his love of Jesus, correct?
Absolutely. I think that's refreshing, and with all these ball players, all these bums out there, I'll tell you, it's bad. And to see a guy like that go to the Super Bowl and win it, that's, to me, as far as I'm concerned, is fantastic.
Okay, here's Reading, Pennsylvania on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm just calling, and I'm not religious. However, I just want to understand how these people can think that Kurt Warner is playing as a born-again Christian, and if Jesus is watching him as a football player, then why isn't he concerned about the problems going on in Russia and other countries where there are wars going on, when he's not concerned? Like, what is he taking time off to watch the Super Bowl and to help Kurt Warner play football while there's wars going on?
Is the caller there?
Yeah, I'm right here, Phil. I'm just saying that you're talking about Jesus paying attention to stuff's going on in Russia. While there's a great man like Kurt Warner, there's no contest.
No, I'm not doubting that he has a great football talent. However, I respect him as a football player, but I don't think Jesus is helping him play football while he's not helping these people in Russia, or even there's people starving in our own country and he's not helping them.
Well,
he's worried about football players.
Well, obviously they're not worthy. I mean, we're talking about two different things. Okay, you're talking about man's life and the life of a nation. And
yeah, but the caller is saying, why would Jesus help a Kurt Warner and not some poor, suffering mother or child in Chechnya or a place like that?
Thank you.
I think what you're talking about is, are those people worthy? I mean, as a Christian, I believe in are you worthy to receive the Holy Spirit?
Okay, now what about
these kids?
These kids are born into these countries and they don't have a choice if they're worthy or not of your Lord. I mean, how are they at fault? They're not. They don't have a choice.
Well, my Lord wants them
and now
to show.
Jesus is going to watch a Super Bowl and not take care of these kids?
Well, you're talking about Jesus Christ, okay? And he has always been partial, I think, to winners.
And Kurt Warner is a winner because he's a Super Bowl champion.
Well, what I'm saying is
that guarantee. Okay.
No, but what I'm saying is, I think you make a very good point, sir. I'm trying to say, and I'm sorry if I misunderstood you, but look where Kurt Warner came from.
I was bagging groceries 5 years ago myself. I'm sorry. I don't understand where his downfall is.
But
you're American.
You're not playing in the Super Bowl.
Okay. But he's an American.
He was bagging groceries. Now he's playing in the Super Bowl.
But I'm sorry, these kids in Chechnya, they don't even have grocery stores, so they can't bag groceries.
No, but I'm saying he's come further.
Kurt Warner?
Because he lives in America.
Kurt Warner's come further?
Because he lives in America.
Yeah, he lives in America. That's right.
That's why he's given these opportunities. People in other countries that Jesus isn't taking care for, he doesn't have anything to do with that.
Well,
that's just the way this life is going.
Let's put the shoe on the other foot. Let's put the shoe on the other foot. Are you saying that Jesus doesn't like Kurt Warner?
I'm thinking that Jesus doesn't really care about Kurt Warner because he has to do because.
Wait a second. Kurt Warner is a born-again Christian.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, I'm sorry, but what about these people who don't have the choice about being born again? But
are they Christian?
That doesn't matter.
No, it does matter if they're Christian or not. You're talking about Jesus.
I'm talking about Jesus looking after people in this whole world.
Is it possible for Jesus to give Kurt Warner a Super Bowl and to save some kid from starving?
Obviously, he didn't.
Then why wouldn't he if he's such a great guy?
Obviously, it has to do with the Holy Spirit.
Then why wouldn't he help little kids who don't have a choice? If they don't even know who Jesus is, why wouldn't he reach out and let him know?
You know what? I'll tell you why. Because it's the mystery. It's the mystery of,
It's not a mystery. It's
no,
just
that's
people's
the mystery
demented thought that there's someone out there helping them, and they're not really out there.
That's the whole thing. See, but it used to burn me, Jay, if you don't mind me saying, growing up and listening to a lot of these people, they always say, well, God works in mysterious ways.
Well, it's true, he does. And we can't know for sure, Phil.
But he always helps out the Super Bowl champions.
Well, there's a reason for God's
plan. There's a reason he helps out the Super Bowl champions, because Americans want everyone to be that way. And I'm an American, but I don't believe in this. I mean,
what are you telling me you don't believe
Jesus
it?
Helped Michael Jordan, and Jesus helping this guy, and Jesus is helping that guy, but Jesus isn't helping the people that are out there trying to fight for their own freedom.
You know what kind of bothers me a little bit is you come from Reading, Pennsylvania. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. No, I don't. I come from Philadelphia. I just live in Reading, and that's where I said.
That's football country.
It's not.
Now, what are you doing?
I'm sitting here trying.
What are you trying to pull?
That Jesus Christ didn't help Kurt Warner win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry that I believe this.
Well,
I don't think Jesus took off his time trying to think about what he can do about the world to watch the Super Bowl and how to help Kurt Warner win. I'm sorry.
Well, you're wrong, because he did, and I'll tell you why. Kurt Warner won the Super Bowl, yes or no? Answer is yes.
He did, and I don't think Jesus Christ helped him, because he didn't help me solve my money problem.
Well, I don't need to say anything about you, but maybe you're not as good, right? Yeah, are you thanking Jesus? No.
Oh, I thank Jesus every day.
No, you don't. You said you don't believe in him.
I'm sure Kurt Warner is thinking now that he's glad that he has Jesus helping him win the Super Bowl.
Well, if you were a born-again Christian, maybe you'd have some more help.
Well, wait a second. Are you telling me
it's turning your life over to Jesus?
So some kid's starving to death in the streets of Chechnya, Russia, or wherever it is, and...
Oh, well, you guys give me a pain with this other starving kid bull crap. Look, he's a Christian. Is he supposed to suffer because some kid hasn't got, some manhandler soup to eat? No.
So you're saying because he's not a Christian, he deserves to starve?
To each his own. God works in mysterious...
Good point. Good point.
God works in mysterious...
Good comeback, buddy.
A good comeback...
Because the kid's not a Christian that he doesn't have any choice about, he deserves to starve, is what you're saying.
And your comeback was to each his own.
Hey, God works in mysterious ways.
And I'm sure God is for a kid who doesn't have a choice, I'm sure God is wishing him to starve.
No, but I'm saying it's the mystery of life. What's your name?
That is not a mystery.
That's the mystery of life.
That is just ignorance.
Look it, pal. You can't say that a kid's starving and Kurt Warner... I have reasons...
You have reasons for what?
I have explanations for certain things.
Like what?
Like why Kurt Warner has success, the kid's starving.
What is it?
You're going to laugh at me.
Go ahead. I want to hear this.
I subscribe to the Buddhist theory of reincarnation.
Oh, boy.
Now, hear me out. Hear me out. Because we've lived many lives, we have karma, and we have, we have things that we have to go through. And some starving kid lived a past life where this is his karma, to starve. And Kurt Warner, maybe he starved in his past life, so now he has the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something, Phil. That's dangerous talk in a Christian society. That's dangerous.
Why is that dangerous? I mean,
you live in America, buddy.
Yeah, I live in a Christian, a Judeo-Christian.
So it's not a Christian society. This is America, where everyone can believe what they want to believe. And this argument is moot, for one, because we shouldn't be arguing about it, because we should have our own opinions, and we shouldn't be fighting over nothing.
Right, but Mr. Hendrie coming out with that Buddhist stuff, that's dangerous.
That's all right. No, it's not.
It's not dangerous.
His Buddhism is as dangerous as your Christianity.
I'm talking about Jesus Christ led the St. Louis Rams to their one Super Bowl victory. And
Do you believe that? Do you believe that Jesus Christ led St. Louis Rams to Super Bowl? You think he came?
I heard Kurt Warner
all the problems to come down to help them win the Super Bowl.
I heard Kurt Warner say, "Thank you, Jesus." Okay.
Oh, big deal.
Read it and weep.
Every time my girlfriend gets a period, I say that. I'm sorry I said that, but that's what I say.
Right. So you think that's funny, huh, Mr. Hendrie?
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yes. I'm going to tell you something. Both of you guys are going to rot, and I mean rot slowly in hell, because.
I'm going to rot slowly in hell. Why?
Because you're laying out a lot of this Buddhist stuff on the air. This guy over here is laughing at it. The two of you are going to slowly rot by way of maggots in hell.
By way of maggots?
I guess you think that's funny too, huh?
It's kind of it is kind of humorous.
Okay, listen, thanks for calling, sir. 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. We have this guy, Jay, on the phone who thinks that Kurt Warner won the Super Bowl because he is a born-again Christian. Now, I'm not putting down his religion. That's not the part that I was laughing at. What I was laughing at is he just said that I'm going to rot slowly by way of maggots in hell. See if you don't agree. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show. Phil Hendrie Show here, 1-800-449-8686 with Phil Hendrie. Open lines here. We got a caller who believes that Kurt Warner won the Super Bowl because he believes in Jesus. Isn't that right, sir?
Yeah, Phil, that's what I believe. I believe that Kurt Warner won the Super Bowl because he is a born-again Christian and because Jesus is backing him up. Jesus got his back.
And we couldn't quite answer that question about Russia, could we?
Now, the way I answer the question about Russia is that Kurt Warner, God helps those who help themselves. You got some kid in Russia, or you got Kurt Warner, Kurt Warner helps himself. He was bagging groceries, did what he had to do.
And a little kid starving in Russia ain't helping himself. I got it. Okay, here is Orange Mound on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hey, guys, listen.
Orange Mound?
Hey, Mike.
Hey,
you hear me?
You live in a town called Orange Mound?
Yeah, I live in the city of Memphis. There's a community called Orange Mound, which is
what made the Orange Mound
has a ton of history behind it.
What made the Orange Mound?
Oh no, it's not. It's not just it's a neighborhood called
Never mind. He's trying to be smart. Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
No. Listen.
Go ahead.
It is Orange Mound has a history of being the largest black-owned neighborhood in the United States. That is something to be wonderful about. I mean, that's larger than Harlem or anywhere else.
I got to tell you something.
Always had that designation in Memphis. But the one thing I'd like to tell him
I left an Orange Mound the other morning.
Isn't that funny? Go ahead, sir.
What I'd like to say to him is this: God, in my personal opinion, and I still don't believe that he would ever get involved in a sports thing to begin with, because I think he says, "Here's the coin, guys. Tee it up, do the best you can on your own." I don't believe Jesus or God works in that way. If you want to think that you can put Jesus involved in the middle of a man's game, you're out of your freaking mind.
Well, wait.
For you to say for 1 second that it's more important that people should starve somewhere than Jesus cares about a football game, you know what? You need to really and truly, seriously, in your mind, and heart of hearts, go back to that crazy religion you think you are from, because Christianity doesn't have a doggone thing to do with winners or losers. It has to do with Jesus, nothing else.
All right,
That's what Christianity has to do with.
Okay, Jay.
But you seem to want to believe it has to do with things don't have anything to do with any of that.
No, all I'm saying is Kurt Warner. I mean, this guy's bagging groceries 4 years ago. Now look at the guy. He's on top of the world.
I bagged groceries when I was 5 years old. What am I supposed to be, a doggone NFL quarterback because I bagged groceries when I was 6 or 7? God has been very good to me. I take care of my family.
You didn't believe hard enough.
They're comfortable. They're very happy in their lives. They have everything they need.
There you go.
And God didn't give me a Super Bowl, but he did give me the common sense to realize that if I worked real hard in my life, some things would come to me.
What about all those guys?
It still has to do with me working hard, because if Kurt Warner had thrown a ball to one person that dropped it, you would be saying something different.
Well, wait a minute, sir. I got a question to ask you tonight. But I got a question to ask you, sir. What about all those guys that cross themselves when they score a touchdown? What about that?
All they're saying is one thing. Thank you, God, for allowing me to do this in my life.
One time I saw I saw the ball game last week. Chris Carter of the Minnesota Vikings scored a TD and pointed to Jesus.
Yeah, and by the way...
Hey, let me ask you a question.
And by the way, the Vikings...
How in the world do you point to Jesus when you don't know where he is?
Everybody,
in my honest opinion,
everybody
Jesus
knows
he's beside you, around you, and everywhere you are.
Everybody knows he's in heaven.
Jesus?
Everybody knows he's in heaven.
Well, wait a minute. Where's heaven?
Up in the air.
Wait a minute. Who decided that point?
In the Bible.
When all of God's teachings, did he say heaven was above?
Yes, they did. They say that heaven is a 1,500-mile wide city in the heavens, in the clouds.
You know what? You need to do yourself a big favor and realize something. Heaven is where you are. God makes heaven around you. He keeps all the things.
Well, then why do they say it's up in the sky? Then why do they say it's up in the sky?
Huh?
Why do they say it's up in the sky if it's all around? They didn't say that.
Well, let me ask you a question. Here is a being that created ground, earth. If you really and truly believe in God, hey,
right.
Mr. Henry, you
yes,
want to have some fun?
Yes, sir.
You want to have some fun?
Yes.
Let me blow your little guest away right quick.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna give him a bomb.
If
you really believe that God created heavens, earth, stars, and everything else, if you truly believe that, and what you say, and Jesus is all your Savior, your care about your everything. If you really truly believe that, why would He put so much around you and make you be so small among all those things that are so great?
Well, I got an
answer. If you ever take time in your little measly
I got an answer
life,
for that. I've got an answer for that.
What is it?
I'm way better than everything else because of the fact that I'm the
That's
most...
your damn ego. That ain't nothing to do with God.
No, man.
That's your damn ego.
No, it's not me. I'm just saying as a man. I built buildings and an elephant
That's
can't...
your damn ego.
Can an elephant do that?
That's your damn ego. You can't... Let me tell you something. As a man, if you think you are truly great, you can't create or destroy anything without something being left.
What about test tube
when
babies?
You finish?
What about test tube babies?
What I'm trying to say to you is this. You cannot, as a man, create or destroy anything. As a man, it takes you to take two things to put it together to create it. And no matter how much you burn, no matter how much you smash, no matter how much you destroy, something will be left over to be thrown away. That means you don't have divine intervention. You're not as great as you think you are.
Well, but you know they cloned that sheep in Russia the other day.
That doesn't mean anything. It still took two things to create one. Son, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You are not godlike. I don't care how hard you try. Mr. Henry, do yourself a favor.
Yes, sir.
Take that idiot that you're talking to right now and kick him to the curb. Because all he cares about in his whole life is himself. And when all is said and done, you will realize one thing. This little black guy in Memphis, Tennessee, in the middle of the night, sitting on the street that he doesn't care anything about, says one thing about you. And it's this. If you care anything about Jesus Christ in your whole life, you will realize one thing. Jesus will care more about you if you care about the lesser that involved around you than you do about the most.
Well, everybody knows that everybody knows Jesus likes football. Hello?
You need to get you some help.
No, wait. Notre Dame. Hello, Notre Dame. Does that answer my question or what?
Notre Dame?
Yeah. Catholic, Christian, football. Thank you.
So you're trying to tell me that if you're not Catholic, you can't possibly win a championship?
No, I'm saying Jesus.
Well, what do you want to say about Alabama? All the years of inequality and everything
That's right,
else.
and they suck.
All the years of racial inequality.
And they
suck. You're
suck.
trying to tell me now that Jesus thought that inequality and treating black people bad was worthy of being given a championship. Is that what you're saying?
No, Ole Miss sucked. They never had no championships.
You're out of your mind. They won three national championships.
Now, how come you're following a racial team like that? You're a black guy. You shouldn't be following them.
Oh, now, Cal, all right, now hold on for a minute. Wait. He's trying to confuse
you.
you.
If you don't know the history of football, then you have no business staying up late trying to influence the whole country about things that you don't know a damn thing about. You are one, in my honest opinion, the silliest white man I've ever seen, listened to, or heard in my whole life.
That's the second time you brought race into it.
Do yourself a favor.
That's the second time you brought race into it.
Next time you want to put somebody on the air,
yes, sir,
for a whole lot of people to listen to, find yourself somebody. I mean, this man isn't even Christian. I mean, what he says doesn't even espouse Christian beliefs. What he says doesn't even espouse human beliefs. This guy's a damn fool. I mean, honest to God, he's a damn fool.
Hey, wait a minute. You find that funny, but I'm being logical. This man's not being logical. I said that Jesus likes football because Notre Dame's had great teams.
Yeah, but then he brought up Alabama having all of those great teams with nothing but white guys.
That was a good year for white guys.
Oh, don't you love that? Don't you love that?
It was a good year for white guys.
You happen to be white and good that year. So the first year that a black team beat a white team, it was a bad year for white people. You sound like a damn fool, man. You need to grow up, get in the 20th century, do yourself a favor, put your hood back off your head, call yourself what you really are, put a swastika back on your shoulder, and
I love how it all boils down to race.
And rejoin the Crusades.
I love how it all boils down to
everything else about you.
It all boils down to race.
This guy is the most ignorant guy I've ever heard in my life. I mean, I've listened to late-night radio in all my tons of years, but this is the most ignorant white man I've ever heard in my life. Not even as a black man talking to a white man, and hell, I'm the most conservative black man you'll ever meet in your life. I've never voted for a damn Democrat in my life. This is the most ignorant white man I've ever heard. Honest to God.
It all boils down to race with you, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
You brought it up. You brought it up. I'm trying to say to you that Jesus, all you got to do is turn your life.
Jesus is a white man, right?
I'm sorry?
Is Jesus white? Here's your question.
That's my understanding.
Check him out, Mr. Henry. Is Jesus white?
Are you asking me, sir?
Yeah. No. Him.
Okay, Jay, the question is, was Jesus
white? Tell him to answer it.
And you need to answer this.
The question is, was Jesus white?
Was Jesus white?
That's one of those mysteries we'll never know.
No. You've been yakking all night long. You got answers to everything. Answer that one.
God works
in your honest opinion, what do you think?
Well, when you look at all the stuff he did, you got
to be a white guy, right?
I mean, what else?
He's the only white man in a country full of black people. That's the only way he could have got things done. They'd have killed his ass the first day.
Well, you're the guy.
They wouldn't have waited till later. They would not have waited until later to kill him. They would have killed him on the first day.
Okay, hey Jay, are you kidding about that or what?
Well, this guy wants to bring race in everything. Well, you're bringing race into everything. I thought I'd have a little fun with you.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to get you to understand something.
Look, do you believe Jesus was white or black?
He had to be black. He was from Africa.
Okay, there you go. He was black. He was from Africa.
Oh, so you're trying to tell me? Well, you're trying to tell me that a black guy chose the white guy over another black guy to win the Super Bowl? Hey, see,
he had to be black.
He's got a real problem now.
He had to be black. He got himself lynched.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's time for you to let him go. I'll tell you what, I've enjoyed myself. I've enjoyed my argument. My wife is probably going to chew me out forever and a day.
No problem.
I appreciate your producer letting me get on, but you know something? Hey, man, this was fun.
Okay.
I enjoyed it, but that guy right there is the most dangerous thing the United States has in it.
Well, stupidity is what's dangerous, sir, and it comes in all colors.
And that's what he is.
Yes. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you for your call, sir. Put Jay on hold. When you look at all the stuff he did, he had to be white. 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show. What has that got to do with anything?
Well, you kind of ganged up on me with that other guy.
Well, does race matter to you? I mean, forget about whether that guy brought in race. Does it matter to you?
No, race doesn't matter to me at all. I'm just saying, the guy asked me about Jesus, if he was white or black, so I was just playing around with him.
But you don't really believe Jesus was white?
No, I don't know, but I don't know. I don't believe that, no.
Okay, here is St. Petersburg on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good.
My question is, how does Jesus pick his pecking order? In other words, you say that Jesus helped Kurt Warner out. Well, what happened to Trent Dilfer? I mean, he's doing his prayer meetings before each and every game. And,
is Trent Dilfer a Christian?
Did you hear what I just said?
No, sir, I'm sorry.
Well, if you listen, maybe then you could answer. First of all, I said Trent Dilfer is having his prayer meetings before each and every game, became a laughing stock. He was so more interested in doing his Christian thing than playing ball. I think all these athletes that want to thank someone else other than their own God-given ability.
God-given.
That's right.
You just said it.
That's right, buddy.
You just said it, pal.
And it's given to us to use as we see fit.
By
he doesn't have no ring through our nose.
By God. Okay, you said it, not me. And if you want to know what happened...
are you gonna answer my question?
Yes,
or are you
I'm going to
just
answer.
Stick on this by God thing?
I'm going to answer it. Well, just because I caught you,
Caught me what? Answer the question. Get to the point.
I got you. I caught you saying God.
Just answer the man's question.
Okay. Trent Dilfer obviously isn't doing it right.
I see.
Okay.
He is. Okay.
I mean, no, there's a certain you have to believe, and you have to be a believer. Just because you guys, do you take a knee? Do you pray?
Believe in what? Believe in yourself?
Do you take a knee at night?
Excuse me?
Do you take a knee at night?
Are you taking you? I don't know.
Are you taking? What do you mean take a knee?
Kneel down.
Oh, take a knee. Okay.
It's football. It's football talk for kneeling down. Hit your knees.
What about it?
Do you ever do that? Do you pray?
Oh, absolutely not.
Well, you'd be a lot happier if you did.
Well, see, we're not getting to the point here. Look.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know about Trent Dilfer's faith. I don't know. Just because he's praying doesn't mean he has faith. And I think you have to look at the man's life to see if he has a real faith. I think Kurt Warner has shown he has faith because he's won the Super Bowl.
All right, let's go to a different player then.
All right.
Player that you brought up. What happened to the Minnesota Vikings? What happened to Mr. Chris Carter?
Well, Chris Carter...
He wasn't high enough up on Jesus' list. Is that what it is?
Well, you laugh, but yeah, it comes down to...
You're delusional, man. You're absolutely delusional.
Chris Carter was...
And another reason I say that is last time I looked, Muammar Gaddafi wasn't black, and he's from Africa. Have a nice evening.
He's as black
nice talking
he's
to you.
He's as black as you are. Hello?
Okay, I guess he hung up. Well, that guy, he doesn't believe that Muammar Gaddafi is black?
That guy's about as black as Marvin Gaye. You tell me Marvin Gaye wasn't black, then you got to believe Muammar Gaddafi is black. So.
Oh, that guy there was. I guess he was commenting on the Jesus is black thing.
I think Jesus looked like Marvin Gaye. Now that's my personal opinion.
Jesus looked like Marvin Gaye.
Yes, I do. I really believe that. And the guy in St. Petersburg's probably pissed off because it makes more sense.
Okay, Memphis on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jay. Hey, Jay. Hey, Jay. Hello.
At first flash of Eden, we raced down to the sea. Standing there on freedom's shore, waiting for the sun, waiting for the sun, waiting for the sun. Can't you feel it now that spring has come?
Phil Hendrie.
That it's time to live in the scattered sun. Waiting for the sun, waiting for the sun, waiting for the sun, waiting for the sun, waiting, 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 waiting,
Yeah.
Waiting for you to hear my song. Waiting for you to come along. Waiting for you to tell me what went wrong. spring has come, that it's time to live in the scattered sun.